my experience from it was that heavy periods in Tylenol has never killed my child before, where the abortion pills has. Um, it was horrible. I mean, the amount of blood that was coming out of me, I probably should have gone to the doctor. I just could not make myself to do it.
Welcome to Caring for Both, a curbside consult series by the American Association of Pro-Life Obstetricians and Gynecologists, or AAPLOG. On this podcast, we bring on experts to provide insights to support you as a medical professional in your life-affirming practice and career. I'm your host for today, Dr. Christina Francis. I'm a board-certified OBGYN and also the CEO here at AAPLOG. Today is a little bit different. I'm very excited to introduce you to my guest today. This is the first of a two-part episode, and we are grateful today to be able to hear from a woman who's willing to share not only her tragic chemical abortion pill story, but also why she joined the state of Louisiana and the Alliance Defending Freedom's federal lawsuit against the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. So today we're going to hear more about her story, and then next week we'll dive into the legal aspect of this important case with Gabriella, our attorney who's with us today. So just a little bit of background before we start talking with both of them. In October 2023, Louisiana resident Rosalie Markezich took chemical abortion pills obtained by her boyfriend, who ordered them online from a California abortionist. Like many women who take these drugs, Rosalie faced immense pressure and coercion, fearing for her safety if she didn't take them. We have the former Biden administration to thank for the lack of safeguards surrounding the abortion pills. In the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic, it removed restrictions requiring women to pick up the pills in person. And then in 2023, it directed the FDA to formally update what they've been doing since 2021, officially removing the in-person dispensing requirement from its risk evaluation and mitigation strategy, or REMS, for Mifepristone. This, as many of you know, opened the door for abusers to utilize out-of-state pro-abortion activists and abortionists to get these pills in pro-life states like Louisiana, putting women, girls, and preborn children at risk. With Roe v. Wade in the rearview mirror, pro-life states like Louisiana are stepping up to the plate to defend women and preborn children, our patients, from pro-abortion policies. This lawsuit calls out the FDA's recklessness and asks the federal government to stop the distribution of chemical abortion pills without an in-person doctor's visit. This story carries deep significance, not just for Rosalie, who we're going to hear from very soon, but for women and pro-life doctors across the country. We are so grateful for the courage shown by Louisiana and Alliance Defending Freedom, and especially to Rosalie for bravely sharing her experience in the hopes of inspiring strength and change in our country. Joining Rosalie is her attorney from the Alliance Defending Freedom, Gabriella McIntyre. Gabriella serves as legal counsel for Alliance Defending Freedom Center for Life, and she earned her JD cum laude from George Mason's Antonin Scalia Law School. She's a 2017 Blackstone Fellow and a member of the DC and Colorado bars. Gabriella also worked on the team that represented AAPLOG in the Alliance for Hippocratic Medicine in our lawsuit against the FDA over Mifepristone. Rosalie and Gabriella, we appreciate you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. Well, let's just jump right in. Rosalie, if you're comfortable doing so, can you share your experience with chemical abortion pills? How did you end up taking them, even though I know it was not something that you wanted? And just to sort of share more about that experience with us and what led up to that happening.
Absolutely. I'll start off by saying that I did not want to have an abortion in any sense. So when I fell pregnant, I was so happy, and I wanted to share my joy with my boyfriend at the time because I mean, we hadn't been together very long, but it was his child too, so he has a right to know as well. And for about a week, we both were very happy. I remember him telling me that this is going to be legendary. And then about 1 week after that, he had made the choice for both of us to terminate the baby. I kept telling him, no, I do not want to. We're in a pro-life state. I do not want an abortion. I cannot even tell you how many times I said that to him, that exact phrase. I do not want an abortion. Um, and he went ahead and ordered them anyway without my permission, used my name and email address, and had them in my personal address as well, and had them shipped to my house. Um, I had came up with the plan of just lying to him and be like, "Oh yeah, I did take the pills. I already took them." Well, he did not believe me, and I was not telling the truth. So then I had to come up with another plan. After that one night, we were driving in the car, and he was shouting at me, "You're gonna ruin my life. You don't know what you're doing. You're not gonna be able to do this." Um, and so after all of the shouting and going back and forth, I knew that I was not. I need to save myself and my child in any way that I could. I was by myself in the car. Nobody knew where I was, and so I couldn't call anybody or anything. So I came up with the plan of I'll swallow them and then have he's watching me swallow them. So I'll swallow them and then I'll go into the bathroom and I'll throw them back up. Well, he had made the choice again for himself that after I took the pills that it was just time for me to go home. So he went in to drive me home, and I knew I needed to throw up real quickly. So I convinced him to go back to his house since it was closer, and I ran to the bathroom, tried to throw them up, but it was too late. I was already bleeding.
Oh, I am so sorry, Rosalie. I just can't imagine what you must have been feeling in that moment and feeling, as you said, that you really had no other choice. And this was so against anything that you wanted. And yet, I mean, it sounds like you feared for your own safety if you didn't
Yes.
go along with what he was trying to get you to do.
Yes, I did know previously he had a record. I'm not sure for what, but I do know he was in trouble with the law in the past.
What a terrifying position to have been forced into, certainly. How far along were you, Rosalie, in your pregnancy when all this happened?
I never went to the doctor, so I don't know exactly, but it was around 5 to 6 weeks.
Okay. Okay. And you didn't participate in any way, it sounds like, in ordering these pills. I mean, that was, you said he used your name. Did he ever mention if he interacted with any kind of doctor or anything like that when he was ordering these pills, or did he even mention anything about that?
He did not, he did not go see any doctor, nor did he mention anything about it. Um, his sister had informed him about how to get them in the website, and she sent him the link,
Okay.
saying that she's done it many times before.
Mm.
She sent him the link, and then he filled it out. I had no part whatsoever.
Oh my goodness, I am so sorry. You know, Rosalie, I'm sure that you've heard the line that we hear so often that that taking these pills is no big deal, that it's safe, that they're safer than Tylenol. I've had patients tell me that they were told that it was just going to be like having a period. I wonder, do you feel comfortable explaining to people what the process was like for you? Was it safe and easy, as women are often told that it is, or what was your experience like?
My experience from it was that heavy periods in Tylenol has never killed my child before, where the abortion pills has.
Mhm.
Um, it was horrible. I mean, the amount of blood that was coming out of me, I probably should have gone to the doctor. I just could not make myself to do it. I was heavily bleeding and cramping for over a week, just a little bit over a week. And all the while, well, nobody even knew that I had an abortion. So
Mhm.
I was going to work just trying to pretend that it never did happen.
Sure.
And the worst part of it was just feeling the blood drip down, constantly drip down your legs, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Mm. Rosalie, it just, as a doctor who I've been taking care of women for 20 years now, and to me one of the biggest privileges of that is that special relationship that develops between a woman and her OBGYN especially, I think, but also just knowing that, even if I prescribe a medication to my patient that I know might cause some significant side effects or something like that, that she knows that she has me that she can come to. If she has
Hmm.
questions, if she's experiencing complications, if she's scared about something that's going on. And what I'm hearing from you is not only did you not have that because there wasn't a doctor that you had a relationship with that had given these pills to your boyfriend, but also just how alone and isolating that must have been for you, and so scary to be bleeding that much,
Hmm.
and not have a person that you knew that you could go to, but also, as you said, just feeling, I don't know, I don't want to put emotions in
Hmm.
words in your mouth, but I could imagine feeling ashamed of what was going on at the same
Yes.
time being scared. And I mean, it just doesn't sound empowering obviously at all to you, which is what we hear, of course, when
Hmm.
people talk about this, is that this is what women need and it's empowering and it's helpful to them. But you had really, it sounds like, the exact opposite experience of that.
Yes. In fact, I didn't know of any symptoms or side effects of these drugs. I consider myself very lucky um, coming out of it and not having a serious health problem because I know a lot of women are not that lucky, and that is not fair.
Well, and you're absolutely right. And, even though, maybe you didn't have as bad of an experience as some women have, it sounds like it was still horrific enough.
Oh yeah.
And without having any kind of what we call as physicians informed consent, meaning
Yes.
someone should have met with you and talked to you about your specific risks associated with these drugs. And even the most basic of questions, is this even something that you want? And that was completely taken away from you, not only by your boyfriend, but by the people who are recklessly dispensing these drugs in this way, and not giving women informed consent, regardless of what their decision might end up being.
Hmm.
Um, how do you think, I'm curious to hear from you. You live, as you said, in a pro-life state in Louisiana where abortion is illegal, yet your boyfriend was able to easily obtain these drugs online. If pro-abortion states like California were to respect the pro-life laws in other states and required in-person doctor's visits and required knowing for sure, seeing the woman who was going to be taking the pills, this may seem like an obvious question, but obviously your
Hmm.
situation would have been very different. Um,
Yes.
it would have required you going to another state if you actually wanted to have an abortion. Why do you think this is so important that we're talking about this, that these other states are not respecting the laws of states like Louisiana, and that these drugs are available so easily, to just be shipped across state lines? Why is it important to you to be talking about this, and what is it that made you join this lawsuit?
Yes. I think that, I mean, if I had an opportunity to an in-person visit and I were to tell the doctor, like, hey, I don't want this abortion, I'm only here to appease my then boyfriend, the doctor would not have given me any pills. Yeah, they wouldn't have given me any pills, and they would have be somebody for me to reach out to if I felt like I was in danger from my boyfriend. They would be there where I could reach out and be like, "Hey, this is what's happening, and I need some help."
Mhm.
Um, and I think if the mail order abortion pills become non-existent, um, it would open up safer options for women to have a safe, if they want an abortion, then they should be they should have a right to have a safe option and an in-person doctor's visit.
Yeah, it's a really good point. We've often talked about as an organization that, obviously we hope that all of our patients choose life for their children, just like you were attempting to do. You were trying so hard to protect your baby.
Hmm.
But even if women make the choice to have an abortion, we don't believe that those women deserve any less of a standard of care than women in any other situation. And that's, as you pointed out, that's really what's happening. And not only was it not uh, a safe way in any way. It was a
Hmm.
much more dangerous way to be dispensing these drugs, but it also takes away from women who are in potentially abusive situations. It takes away their opportunity to maybe get help. It really
Yes.
enabled your abuser. It didn't enable or empower you in any way. It simply enabled your abuser
Hmm.
to abuse you and to continue, potentially a pattern of abuse, which I think is a really important message for anyone to hear, regardless of where they stand on the issue of abortion. Rosalie, I'd like to hear
Hmm.
from you. What do you hope will be the outcome of this case? What would be sort of best case scenario if you could pick the best outcome of this case? What would you like to see happen?
I would like to see the mail order abortion pills become non-existent and have just people be aware of the hurt that these pills have given and will give and have gave.
Mhm.
Um, just to find a safer option of in-person doctor visits. Um, Having us come together as a community and just help each other all around. Um, just, yeah, be the help.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and on that same line, if there are women maybe listening to this podcast or watching this podcast who either have been in a similar situation as you, or maybe they're contemplating right now, maybe they find themselves pregnant and they're kind of unsure what to do, and maybe they're contemplating taking these drugs or ordering these drugs online, what would be your advice to them?
I would say it's okay, whatever they decide, but just to make sure that it is their decision and not anybody else's decision. Um, no matter how many words they put towards your decision, it's still your decision, and that is for you to make. Um, and just know whatever you do decide to do, look for help and keep looking for the help because it is out there. And also, God loves you.
Oh, what a great message, Rosalie, to be spreading. And I have to just say thank you again for your bravery, your courage, for sharing your story. I know it can't be easy to
Hmm.
share such a personal thing in such a difficult time in your life with the public, but I really do believe that we need to be hearing more from women who have
I
been
do
through
too.
this. The abortion activists will try to say that this kind of thing doesn't happen, and you are living proof that it does. And I'm sure you're aware that you are not alone. We
Hmm.
know that there are likely so many women across this country, even that we haven't heard their stories, who are going through the same thing because of the reckless actions of the FDA and removing that in-person dispensing requirement. So thank you so much for your bravery and for joining us. And we will be continuing to follow your case and hoping that you can be connected with a life affirming physician in your
Hmm.
area who can give you excellent care in the future. And again, we just thank you so much for your bravery and your courage for standing up. And we'll continue to walk alongside of you and follow the outcomes of this case.
Well, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Thank you to our listeners for joining us today. If you like this episode, please be sure to give us a like and a subscribe on YouTube, or if you're listening on a podcast app, please be sure to give us a 5-star review, as well as sharing this with your friends and your colleagues. It's so important that everyone hear Rosalie's story and understand what is truly happening in this country with abortion drugs. Also, if you want to help us continue to clarify in the midst of confusion and give accurate medical information for our patients and for the public. Please join us either through joining as a member if you're a medical professional, or if you're not, you can join our team by donating to help support the crucial work that we're doing. We will see you on our next episode.